So I'm going to do a tutorial on how to use the heat press. Please make sure you've got a member of staff with you when you do this. It's a very hot piece of equipment and it stays hot for a long time. You need to be really cautious when using it. So it's plugged in. First thing you need to do is lift the handle, and you need to do this before you switch it on. So that's done there. Lift it up, and then round the back is the on-off switch. And then looking up here, you've got the dial. It currently says 93 degrees. So what you need to do is go and find the sheets that come with the transfer paper or the transfer foil. There's data sheets for both, and it will have the settings that you need. So once you know what the temperature should be, press the mode button in the middle. That's currently set to 160 degrees. If you want it higher, use the plus. If you want it lower, the minus. Press it again, and this is the time. So in seconds, how many seconds does it say on the data sheet? And again, plus or minus. And then once you've got the time that you need, press the mode button and then wait for that to heat up to the temperature that you require. And once you've got your settings, you need to also do the pressure. So you need to make sure that it stays down. And if you want the maximum pressure, turn it right the way up. And if you want less pressure, turn it down. So I'm going to go for the maximum and then lift it up. And now that's ready to go once it's heated. Just going back to safety with the heat press. The red part here stays cold. The heat element is underneath here. You also need to be aware, apart from fingers, toes, etc., to keep things like paper away, paper that could blow into the machine. So please secure everything down. So now we're going to look at using the cam cutter to cut out a design in 2D. So taking the heat transfer foil in, we need to cut on the reverse of it. So I think good practice, put it on a piece of blank paper. Go back to the cam cutter again. Ask staff to help you with this. So just loosen the blade, and you should go from the back, but because I'm doing this whilst recording and using my phone, I'm going from the front just to make it easier for myself. Just line it up with that. So make sure it's lined up with that white mark, which, excuse me, is very hard to do this one-handed. So at the back was the lever has been released, and you can move these. Make sure both of them are on the paper but within the white lines. Clamp it into place. Not sure if you can see that. We want to press the down button. We want peace, and then press enter. Peace. Press enter. And the machine will measure. Oops. Slight flaw in my plan there. So now back over to 2D design. I will do I'll do a screencastify of this on the other computer just so there's another record of it. So it's file, we're going to do print setup, change that to GX24, sorry you couldn't see that, change that to Roland GX-24 properties. Okay, so what should happen is you would do get from machine, and it would get the sizes, and you can click OK. It's not doing that, so we're just going to try and wing it and hope that it works. So let's do OK. Yes. Now we can move this to nearer the start. There. So now file, CNC output, change that to GX-24 tools, cutter only. I'm going to do 2. Okay. And then just before I start, make sure that the blade is in, tightened up, and then output. Yes. Okay, I'm just going to send that one more time just to make sure. So I'm going to change the number of passes to 1. Okay, and output. And then unclamp and remove pieces. So hopefully, if you can see that. And now we need to peel the excess away so that we're left with just the star and the backing. Okay, so now I've got my star on the backing. Now if you look at this, you can see that it's could have done with another whiz round with the cam cutter because it's left me with a little bit of a jagged edge. So definitely try and peel off a little bit. If it doesn't come off, just give it another go. You can also use the laser cutter, same process, and on the data sheet, on the reverse of the data sheet, so this is the data sheet with all the settings, which is with the heat transfer foils, you've got the settings for the laser cutter and the cam cutter on there as well. So now if we look over 160, which is the temperature we wanted. So now that it's cooled down, just going to grab that, and that should come off. And that's done. So if you were actually what you can do now, actually, put the grease proof back on, minding hands hot bits and pieces. Put that on again and handle down, and that just helps it to fix a bit further onto there. If you were doing this to actually for, I don't know, rather than graphics, you're actually producing something, you would need to wash and iron it to make sure that it stays there. But that is pretty good.